I beat Mother 3 for the very first time just last week, and holy shit, what an experience that was. Oh my god. So anyways, when I finished the game, I was thinking to myself really, really long. It took me a lot of time to think, how does this stack up to Earthbound? Is this better than Earthbound? Is this not as good as Earthbound? What do I really think about this game? Where do I rank it? And, of course, the first game is obviously going to be my least favorite. I don't think anyone is championing the first game. Not to say it was a bad game, but compared to the other two, it does not compare. It does not compare. So, anyways. Mother 3. I was thinking long and hard. It took me a week to finally come to this conclusion. Actually, it took me over a week to come to this conclusion. And I think I finally made up my mind. Mother 3 is the better game. I think Mother 3 is the best in the series. I think Mother 3 is better than Earthbound in many, many elements. Now, is it to say, compared to Mother 3, Earthbound is this terrible, terrible game? Hell no. I've said in many occasions, and I'm sure many of you know, that Earthbound was my favorite game of all time. I've always said I loved Earthbound to no end, and I still love Earthbound to no end. I think it's a great game, but I think Mother 3 beats it by just barely, just a little bit. I don't think Mother 3 blows it out of the water or anything. I think it's just a little better. So before I get further into this video, I do warn. I'm gonna warn you. There's gonna be spoilers of primarily the second and third game. There might be some spoilers of the first game contained in this video, but primarily there's gonna be a lot of major spoilers of the second and third games. Also, there probably will be some spoilers in the comments too. So if you're wary of that, don't look at the comments either. So anyways, if you haven't played these games, fucking play them. Holy shit, do yourself a favor and beat these games because they are both incredible fucking experiences. These two games are fucking masterpieces. And play the first one too, but the first one again isn't really all that special, in my opinion at least. But anyways, so Mother 3 is the better game. So right away, Mother 3 just gripped me with Hinawa's death, right away when the game starts. Well, not right away, but, towards in the beginning, Hinawa, Lucas's mother, dies. And it was very emotional. It was very, very emotional. The beginning of the game definitely gripped me way more than Earthbound's beginning did. Earthbound's beginning was alright. I think it was a little slow, though. It wasn't... the beginning of Earthbound is always my least favorite part of Earthbound. It was always kind of a boring beginning. I didn't exactly enjoy the beginning of Earthbound all that much. Not to say it was bad, per se, but it just wasn't great, in my opinion. But I do think Mother 3 has the much, much stronger beginning because, again, it gripped me right away. It made me want to find out what the fuck happened. Where is Klaus also? Because Klaus goes missing. And, I'm like, what the fuck happens? I gotta keep playing this game to find out what happens. I was addicted to this game when I was fucking playing it. I didn't play it every day, though, but, when I was playing it, I just did not want to stop. I limited myself to one chapter a day. So, the story in Mother 3 is definitely better in my opinion. I felt more for the characters in Mother 3 than I did in Earthbound. And not to say, I felt absolutely nothing for the characters in Earthbound. Of course, it was a very emotional game, for primarily silent characters, the characters you play in Earthbound don't talk all that much, For silent characters, you definitely felt for these characters. You definitely, it felt like you were part of the journey, and, you felt like you could feel for these characters. But in Mother 3, the emotion is just intense. Way more intense than it was in Earthbound. And in Mother 3, I feel like the characters had a lot more personality. I think that kind of ties into the whole, feeling a lot of empathy for these characters thing that I just mentioned. Because, again, these characters talk. Well, they don't talk all the time, of course, but they certainly do talk more than your party in Earthbound did. They have a lot more dialogue. They have more personality and character to them. Not to say, your party in Earthbound is devoid of any personality, but you definitely can identify with these characters more than you did in Earthbound. At least in my personal experience, at least. But that's how I felt for these characters in this game, because they talk a lot more. you're more aware of their personalities. They're not just, characters you take control of and, fight and shit. They actually do have a lot more personality than they do than the characters do in Earthbound. I also do enjoy the structure of Mother 3 more than Earthbound. I do like that separated in chapters, and you don't have to do much of the wandering around to different cities like you do in Earthbound. Not a lot of the boring walking around stuff in Mother 3 than that is very prevalent in Earthbound. At least stuff that I wasn't really entertained by. Again, walking around cities and such. Of course they're still wandering around in Mother 3, but it's not as much as there is in Mother 2, honestly. And I also do really enjoy that that you're not just playing the same four characters all the time. You could play as you could play as Flint in Chapter 1, and you play as different characters. You play as the monkey in Chapter 5. Was it Chapter 5 or was it the third one? No, it was Chapter 3. I'm very sorry about that. And you play different characters aside from the main four in your party, and that's also something I really, really enjoy. And also, this is something else I wanted to mention. The final battle in Mother 3 is definitely, hands down, way better than the boss battle, than the final boss in Earthbound. Of course, there's a lot of emotion, and in Earthbound's final boss, I really like Gygas. Gygas is really cool. I never found him disturbing like a lot of people do, but, I think Gygas is a very cool and unique boss. Also, the way you kill him, you pray, and then he eventually dies. All the Mother bosses aren't really exactly conventional boss fights. In Mother 1, you sing a song to Gigu, and then Gigu eventually dies, and in Mother 2 you pray, and then eventually Gygas dies, and in Mother 3 you fight your own brother, and you don't even really actually fight. I mean, a lot of the times when you try to bash Klaus, or the masked man, as he's also known as, Lucas can't fight because he knows that's his own brother he's fighting, and he can't bring himself to fight his own brother. And then eventually, once Hinawa gets through to Klaus can't even fight either. He doesn't want to fight his own brother. He tries to. His attacks get weaker and weaker as the battle progresses. But then eventually he's like, no, I don't want to fight my own brother. This is my brother. We shouldn't be fighting. And then eventually Klaus commits suicide. He uses his little lightning move. Lucas's Franklin badge deflects the lightning, and then it eventually just kills and then it kills Klaus. Again, way more emotional than Earthbound's final boss, in my opinion. It definitely hit me in the feels, especially in that little scene where you see Lucas and Klaus as babies, and you read Hinawa's and Lucas's father's Flint's dialogue. It was very, very, very emotional, and definitely hit me in the feels. Also, the ending. Oh my god, the fucking ending. Again, something that really fucking hit me when the game ended. Like, to see everything just be destroyed, see all the characters you interacted with die, or did they die? I'm not gonna really get into that. The weird little ending thing where you talk to the characters and shit. But anyways, to see everything just be destroyed, see the areas you walked around in, see a bunch of characters just perish like that. It was definitely very hard-hitting, and Earthbound's ending was also very hard-hitting as well, especially when, you're parting ways with your group, and it was very emotional. Your group, you're all friends, and, you don't want to part ways with each other, but Mother 3's ending definitely tops Earthbound's ending when it comes to emotion, and the story isn't really all isn't the only thing Mother 3 has the edge with. The gameplay wise, it definitely also has the edge. Especially, this is the biggest thing in Mother 3. You can run. You can press and hold. You can press the B button and you run. In Earthbound, there is no run button. You have to just walk at a normal pace. And sure, there's a skip sandwich, that makes you that boosts your speed for a little bit. But can we all be honest here? The skip sandwich is fucking garbage. It is a useless fucking item. It only replenishes, like, I don't know, 6 HP, if that, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, but it definitely doesn't replenish a lot of HP, and it only boosts your speed for about 10 fucking seconds. 10 seconds. It's a complete waste of money, in my opinion. I never, ever I never bought the skip sandwich, aside from a few times where I just wanted to see what it would do, and, you know, it was just all around a useless fucking item, in my opinion. So I didn't use it, and I'm playing through EarthBound again, and I just now realize how fucking painfully slow the walking can be, especially if you're walking for an extended period of time in an area. I'm just like, oh my fucking god, can these characters just fucking hurry up? And there were a few times where I would press the B button thinking that the characters would start running, because I'm so used to how Mother 3 plays, and I was like, oh yeah, you can't run in this game, and I was like, ugh. But that's just a minor little annoyance. It's nothing, of course, it's nothing deal breaking for me. It's not anything major, in my opinion. You know, the characters are just kind of slow. It's just an annoyance and nothing more. Not even a major annoyance. And also, I really do like the battle system in Mother 3 a lot more. I like the combo system. Of course, it takes a little bit to master. You know, you have to really listen to the song and make sure, you know, your hits are in tune with the song. But once you get it down, it's nothing. The combo system really isn't that bad. It really, of course, it depends on the song. Some songs are harder. Some battle music is harder to kind of nail than others, but some of them are pretty easy, in my opinion. And I do like that you can have have combos in this game and hit enemies more than once with an individual character. That's something that EarthBound severely lacks, and you could potentially, if you do the combos right, you can have the enemy take a lot of fucking damage, and beat the enemy a lot faster than you could in EarthBound. And also, this is something else I really, really, really like. Duster in battle. He can, if an enemy sneaks up on you sometimes, he can turn the enemy around and have their backs to you, and you can have the advantage. You can actually fight the enemy first. In EarthBound, you don't get that. Every time you get a back attack in EarthBound, you know, the enemy always gets their turn first. But in Mother 3, there are some times where, you know, Duster can turn around the enemy, and you have a chance to fight the enemy first, and, you know, potentially kill them before they can even do anything. And also, speaking of Duster in battles, he can also attack enemies right away when a fucking battle starts. You know, with blinding speed or whatever, he can hit an enemy, and that's also something I really, really like. Duster is very, very useful for a character without PSI attacks. And also, in Mother 3, you don't have your annoying ass father call you occasionally in the game saying, oh, you've been out there for a long time, go take a break. Shut the fuck up. Especially with save states, with emulators and also Virtual Console, this is especially annoying in EarthBound. But, you know, you just want to fucking play the game, and you'll shut the game off when you want to shut the game off. And I don't want the fucking father, Ness's father, fucking calling over and over and over again saying, oh, you've been out there for a long time. I also much prefer the saving system in Mother 3 than I do in EarthBound. In EarthBound, you have to find a store somewhere, or a building, you know, a hotel or whatever, that has a phone, call your father, listen to your father, you know, read through your father's dialogue, then save, and, you know, all that shit. It was just fucking annoying, honestly. It wasn't annoying, but, you know, it was definitely a chore having to go find a place that has a phone to call your father to save the game. The frogs in Mother 3 are much better. They're much more prevalent in the game. You know, they're in a lot more areas. You know, of course, you know, a telephone in EarthBound, you're not going to find a telephone everywhere, but these are frogs. You can find frogs anywhere in the wild, and they're much easier to come by, so naturally you're going to see a lot of frogs in the game. And I much prefer the saving system there, and I also prefer the money system in Mother 3 as opposed to Earthbound. I know the money system kind of comes a little later in the game, more towards the middle. The your little currency system is introduced, but it's definitely better. Again, the frogs can handle your money, and you don't have to go find an ATM somewhere at a store. You're like, oh, I gotta go teleport over to a place that has an ATM like you did in Earthbound. At least with the frogs, they can handle your money. They're a lot more prevalent. Again, like I said, in Mother 3 as opposed to your saving system in Earthbound, and it was overall just a way better way to handle your currency, to withdraw money or deposit money. Definitely way better than Earthbound. I know Earthbound wanted to go for that real life approach, but there were times where it was just fucking annoying, and I just didn't like it at all. And there was another thing I wanted to mention too. Oh yeah, the item storing system. In Earthbound, you had to you had to call up your sister, and then eventually a guy from her company that she runs, where you store shit, and he could only hold on to 3 items. But in Mother 3, there was this guy. I forgot the exact name of the guy. I don't think he actually has a name, but you could leave your stuff with him. He's also kind of all over the place. He's in a lot of areas, and you could easily take items back that you had him store. And it was very, very handy. Definitely way better than Earthbound's item storing system. I know you could just go to Ness's house and give her a bunch of your items, but really, when are you gonna do that? I mean, I highly doubt most people who played Earthbound routinely went back to Ness's house and gave his sister all that shit. I don't think many players did that. I didn't do that because I didn't want to fucking waste time going all the way back to Onette just to give my sister the goods I don't need. Also, this is another thing that really bothered me about Earthbound. When you die, you have to go back to the hospital and revive your members one by one. This is also something the Angry Video Game Nerd complained about, and also I think a lot of the things I complained about in this video he brought up too, because these are just huge grievances I have with the game. I hate going all the way to a hospital just to revive your members one by one too, and you have to pay every single time just to revive your fucking members. At least in Mother 3, when you all die, you all come back to life. You don't need to go to a hospital to revive all your members. And also on top of that, you also have all of your PP when you come back to life, when you can play, after you got a game over in the game, and after your whole party dies in the battle, all of your PP is replenished again. And in Earthbound, no, you got to go to a hotel and sleep, and then all of your PP is replenished throughout your whole party. I know this isn't really an issue as you get farther and farther into Earthbound. Then you get cups of life noodles. You also get PSI moves that could revive members. But for a huge chunk of the game, oh my god, you have to go to a hospital, revive your members. It's a fucking chore. And in Mother 3, at least there's none of that. It's much improved in Mother 3, that aspect. But there is something that Earthbound does a lot better in terms of when you're fighting an enemy than Mother 3. At least in Mother 3, when you're about to die and your HP reaches 0, at least in Earthbound, when your HP reaches 0 and you're about to die and an enemy took mortal damage and then that enemy dies, your HP goes back to 1. You're able to survive the battle because you won the battle. You defeated the enemy. But in Mother 3, nope. This is especially an issue with the Drago, the Mecha Drago in Chapter 1. He does that huge blow at the end that takes some more that has Flint deal mortal damage. And if your HP reaches 0 before that enemy fucking dies, oh, you're dead, and you have to redo that battle all over again. It's especially frustrating because that fucking boss was a bitch. But anyways, that's besides the point. That was fucking annoying. It wasn't something I dealt with a whole lot because for the most part I didn't die through that by that happening at least. But it was still something that happened and still something that annoyed me. And it's really beyond me why they fucking did away with that in Mother 3. But with all that out of the way, yeah, I think Mother 3 is the better game. Sue me. A lot of people debate over Mother 2 and Mother 3, and a lot of people come to the consensus that Mother 2 is better. But I'm sorry, Mother 3 is the better game. Like, aside all that aside, it also has the way better plot in my opinion. It's way more deep and way more meaningful than Earthbound's plot. Not to say Earthbound's plot was devoid of any meaning and depth, but still, Mother 3, it was just so emotional. You felt more for these characters than you did in Mother 2. But again, of course, like I said, it's not like these characters, the characters in Mother 2 that you take control of, are devoid of any personality and you don't feel for them. But still, Mother 3 is just tragedy after tragedy after tragedy. And I definitely feel way more for these for the characters in Mother 3 than I do in Mother 1. I'm sorry, like Mother 3 has the much deeper plot. And again, Mother Two's plot is also deep, but it was mostly just a quirky feel good game with some depth in it. But Mother 3's plot is way more serious. Of course, it's not without its quirkiness, the trademark quirkiness that's in the Mother games. Of course, it's not devoid of any it's not devoid of that. It's a great combination between drama and comedy, honestly, and I really, there's a lot of silly enemies that are meant to make you laugh in Mother 3, and there's definitely a lot of comedy in Mother 3, like there was in the other games, but still, Mother 3's plot was just so much more serious, and again, so much more deep and meaningful and, tragic. And, that alone, I think Mother 3's plot has the edge there, and, definitely takes the cake, and is definitely better than Mother 2's plot. So anyways, yeah, that's really why I think Mother 3 is the better game. Of course, disagree with me. I know some people are probably going to disagree with me, but that's completely fine. They're both fucking fantastic games. I only draw the line when someone actually says that Mother 1 is the best game, because it's not. You're fucking wrong. I'm sorry. Anyways, just to close, I want to say, fuck Porky. Porky is just fucking evil in this game. Holy shit, he was annoying in Earthbound, but oh my god. He is just pure evil in this game, and I hate him so much. Hate him so much. I can see why he's one of the most hated characters in video game history now, after beating Mother 3. I used to think, he was just blown out of proportion. He was annoying, sure, but he wasn't bad. No, he is a fucking evil douche, and I so wish I so wish he died in the end instead of going in that stupid capsule that Dr. Andonuts made. Honestly, I just wish Porky fucking died instead of, being trapped in that capsule for who knows how fucking long. I know, he's never going to be able to make it out of that capsule. He has a pretty depressing end, sure, but I much rather would have seen Porky die. That's just how much I fucking hate him. And one more thing I want to say. R.I.P. Hinawa. R.I.P. Hinawa. That still hits me in the feels a lot. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Bye-bye.